Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to Angelspeakers Blog Talk Radio. Your host is Teri Miller, who is an author, psychic, medium, energy healer, and happiness coach who resides in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. On Teri's website, Angelspeakers.com, you can read all about time, as well as her other services offered, and even book a session from there. The information discussed on Angel Speakers is intended for general information and entertainment purposes only. It is not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. The programs are not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Individuals with health problems should always consult their healthcare provider for professional medical advice, medications, or treatments. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and shall not be construed in any way as advice from Angel Speakers. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to Angel Speakers or the show hosts whose words and or opinions appear from or on this broadcast. To connect by phone, dial 929-477-1899. If you have called in and want to participate by being on the air with our hosts, press the 1 on your phone. We encourage participation from the chat room as well. Now, here's your host and founder of Angel Speakers, Teri Miller.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show tonight. And welcome back to Angel Speakers. We have been away for a little bit, and I'm so sorry, but it was a necessary downtime after a little incident that I had a couple of weeks ago. But I have so missed being on here, and I've missed our wonderful listeners. Thank you for being with us tonight. And I'm so excited about the show. It's high vibes and energy. And my co-host is Karen Palmer. Karen and I do this show every Tuesday night, and I'm so glad to be back on the air with her. I'm going to bring her on in just a moment. I just want you to know there are no more scheduled broadcasts at this time. I will be going through tonight and scheduling out the next couple of weeks through the end of the month, and I will post that on Angelspeakers.com so you can see what shows will be available to you after tonight. But right now, I want to bring on Karen Palmer, a near and dear friend to my heart. I love you, Karen. Thank you for being here with me tonight.
Thank you, Teri. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with all of you.
Oh, it feels so good to be back on the air. You're my first show that has come back on since my little incident that I had.
I feel so honored that we're back together again, and I love our show. And what a wonderful guest that we have today, too. So I wanted to share about her because she's such an inspiration. And such a mentor. She's been such a gift in my life and in so many other women and families' life. She's just such an inspiration, and I just feel so honored and grateful that we get to share her with our beautiful community. Her name is Dr. Paula Fellingham, and she's the director of the Global Peace Prosperity and Peace Initiative in 196 nations. She received a prestigious Points of Light Award from President George W. Bush and the National Service Award from President Barack Obama. Dr. Fellingham has given presentations at the United Nations for the World Movement of Mothers in Paris, at the International Conference, the Worldwide Organization for Women, and at numerous other conferences across the world. She participated in the World Congress on Families in Geneva and at the World Movement of Mothers International Conference at NATO headquarters. She's currently the founder and the CEO of the Women's Information Network, the WIN, an educational, online, and social network for women and on-land global community for women in many nations. This is such an honor to put a little side note. Paula is the inspiration behind so many incredible projects that Teri and I have both been involved in. And we're just so honored and excited to have her as our guest. Welcome, Paula.
There, that's wonderful, and so sorry, Teri, that you had that downtime. But sometimes, the times when we need to stop and just reflect on our lives gives us such a new level of gratitude. So, I'm sure that happened to you too.
Yes, it did, Paula. I don't believe that anything happens without a reason. And it really did give me that time to stop and reflect about, what I'm doing and prioritize some things and, just regroup. That's what it was all about.
Yep.
I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Two wonderful, wonderful women. So, yes, I love this wonderful Global Prosperity and Peace Initiative. It's magnificent, and like you said, we are growing it into 196 nations, and it's thrilling. It feels like everything that I've ever done in my life has prepared me for this. So that is exciting.
It really does feel like that, doesn't it, Paula? It really feels like you have it's been like a blueprint. And it's been, okay, you take this road and you'll take this and you're going to do this. And really, so maybe you could give us just a little backstory of how this kind of came to be for you and why is it so passionate for you? I love the reason. So I know that you are such inspiration to so many. It's such a powerful message, and she's also the best-selling book of Believe It, Become It, which is an amazing book, and you guys, you really should look that up and get a copy of it because it is a wonderful book, and she really lives Believe It, Become It. So maybe you could tell us how this has come about. You've accomplished so much in your life. It's really
bless your heart. Well,
beautiful.
Thank you so much. Well, there is a story. As with all things, there's usually a wonderful story, and it started really with the Women's Information Network when I launched that in 2009. Started in 2008, and then we launched and had this wonderful opportunity to give a platform to women worldwide to share their messages. And then I started putting on global women's summits, and we expanded it, and I've put on 42 global women's summits in 17 countries. So lots of the countries I've been back to, several of them have been in the U.S. over the last about 4 years. And so I was working diligently at that, and we actually had about 80 global women's summits on the books because we were just going to break out and I had trained 5 different sets of women in retreats to be ready to put on these global women's summits all over the world. And then into my life, as so often happens with people who are just open to what's next and what, in my world, I'm a Christian, what God wants for me next. And what happened was there's a beautiful opportunity I had several years ago to speak in Hyderabad, India, at the first World Parliament on Spirituality. And then years later, I was contacted, and it was when we had these 80 Global Women's Summits on the books with my Women's Information Network. And I was contacted by one of the leaders of that group, and they said, we really would like you to be the one to put on the next World Parliament on Spirituality. Well, knowing that I had so many events on the books, and I really didn't need another event to put on, even though that was a wonderful honor, and I was so grateful that they would think of me because at that point they were putting these on every 4 years, and it would be the first and maybe the last time in America. And they've shifted that model so that they're going to put them on more frequently. But at that point, they had decided to put them on every 4 years. So I knew how important it was to them and my dear friends in India and so many others who were associated with the first World Parliament on Spirituality. So I contacted all of my event directors for all these many, many Global Women's Summits and said, let's just push these into another time, into the future, because I feel directed that I am to go ahead and present this World Parliament on Spirituality. But at the same time, it couldn't be just another event. For me personally, it had to have great meaning. And so I meditated and I prayed about this, and I really came to the realization that although there are many, many, many wonderful people who have peace initiatives and are putting on peace events, I felt like there was something that I could contribute in that way that was different than anyone else's. And I looked and looked, and what I had in mind hadn't been done. And so I agreed to put on this event with the understanding that I would be able to launch what is now called our Global Prosperity and Peace Initiative. And I knew it had to be in all nations, recognized by the United Nations, hence the 196 nations that we will be in. We're not there yet. We are in many, many, many countries, but not all 196 yet. And so what I realized was that we needed to have something this big, needed to have an organization that was the initiative would be doable, that it would be possible. And so now we have regional directors, and then we have peace ambassadors. These are magnificent expats. They're people who lived in another country, usually grew up in another country. They have to have lived there at least 10 years and know the language and the culture completely, intimately. And then national peace ambassadors are the ones who work with our peace ambassadors, but the national peace ambassadors live in the nations. So we started with this organization with an executive team, and it soon expanded to also have a primary team, and these are people who help but don't work on it full-time, an advisory board, which we have a wonderful advisory board, and now we have over 175 peace ambassadors and national peace ambassadors in many, many nations. And so we are actually our wonderful peace map. We call it a master action plan. And here's how we're different. We are different in the way that we are very, very grassroots. What we are offering are lessons for individuals to learn and to then parents to teach in the home. For example, we have over 200 lessons to teach the children love, peace, determination, courage, honesty, integrity, steadfastness, so many, over 200. And these are being translated, but they're already all finished, and they all have stories. They all have discussion questions after the stories. They all have stories for young children and stories for older children. And so, you see, we're very grassroots. We have curriculum to go into the companies, into businesses, and have employers encourage their employees to learn these powerful principles. And so we have books, CDs, DVDs, guidebooks, everything in all of 7 areas of a person's life. So the 7 are mentally, we strengthen them mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, spiritually, financially, and in all their relationships. And back to the spiritually, as you well know, it's for all beliefs, all religions, all spiritual paths. We love everyone, and really politics and religion are non-issues. Our mission is to lift the level of love, increase the level of love, prosperity, and peace on earth. That's our mission. And our website is prosperityandpeaceinitiative.org. So I've been talking a lot, and you sweet girls have just been listening. I know this isn't usually the way it goes. We usually have more interaction, and I apologize. And there
no,
you have
perfect.
the passion, sweet Karen.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's it's beautiful because I've never heard the full story, and I know Teri, you've never heard the full story either. So it makes me want to be more involved. It makes me want to help even more. And I know that will do that for our listeners too. So let's talk about how can our listeners support you, Paula? What are things that people who are listening and when they listen on the replay, what are the best ways for them to get involved? Because I know there's so many people who throw their hands up in the air and say, I just don't know how to help. What would you suggest?
Yep. Well, to the people say, I don't know how to help, I'm like, yay, good, because I would love to have your help.
A lot of ways.
This is a huge initiative. So first, go to the website, prosperityandpeaceinitiative.org. And I'm going to come back to tell you why we have the word prosperity in there. But first, go to prosperityandpeaceinitiative.org, and it has the information, lots more than I can share here on this call, but it has lots of information about how we are implementing our master action plan. But then the second thing you would do is simply email me. It's so simple because then I'll send you contact information for those on our team. I'll send you our overview. I'll send you exactly what's happening, and I'll tell you in just a minute what the first three things are that we're doing. So we have this broken down so that anyone could help us who has a heart that wants to increase the level of love, prosperity, and peace in the world. And so the first thing is to go to the website. The second thing, I'm about to sneeze. The second thing is that you are, what did I say the second thing
Email.
was? Go to the website. Email. So my email is the shortest one. I've got lots of them, but let's just use the one that's affiliated with the website. So you wrote down the website. I hope you did. And then it's just my first name, Paula, Paula, at, and then the website, prosperityandpeaceinitiative.org. So that's easy, Paula at, and then it's the website. And so then the third thing that you will the thing that will happen then is you will receive documents. You'll receive everything that you need, and don't be overwhelmed by thinking, I don't need a lot of documents. It's really just the overview, explaining what's going to happen, and then I'll remind you of these three things. So the third thing is I'd like to share with you what the three things are that we're doing, because as you can imagine, this is something that will go on for, the rest of my lifetime, for decades, and we've organized it into phases. So in the first phase, everyone involved is doing one, two, or all three of these three things. First of all, we are finding people who are like the ones listening right now, and like Teri and Karen, who are like-hearted, I like to say, like-minded, like-hearted, and they have this wonderful propensity and desire to serve their brothers and sisters worldwide. And so what you would do is you would simply find people who are maybe like you, who you think might be able to help, and especially those who grew up in other nations. You might live next door to someone who grew up in Senegal or in Malaysia or China or Singapore or wherever, and let us go tell them about this. Say, go to prosperityandpeaceinitiative.org and learn about it. Would you like to know more? And if they would, we are looking for people who are expats, who live in the United States and who grew up in other nations, and we're looking for people who live in other nations who know people in the United States. So peace ambassadors and national peace ambassadors. And if you say, well, what if you already have somebody from Spain or from Brazil or wherever you're thinking of? It doesn't matter, because we need more than one. Think about this.
Right.
We can't have just one for China. I mean,
right.
And so we want more than one. So just do that one. So that's the first thing. We're looking for wonderful people to go on board. And as you're listening to this and as you're learning more about it, you might think, my sister would love this. And just send her the website, and then we'll get them involved. So the second thing is we are in all these nations. Next September 21st is Peace Day. We are going to be hosting a wonderful Summit, a Global Prosperity and Peace Initiative Summit, but we're calling it a Prosperity and Peace Initiative, a Prosperity and Peace Summit. This is on Peace Day, and it's a Thursday. All over the world, it's on a Thursday. And so what we'd like to have you do, well, I'm not sure if all over the world it's on a Thursday because of the date line. There are 3 days, but nonetheless, it is during the week. It's either a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because in America it's a Thursday. So what we'd love to do, and what we are going to do, is put on just an evening event. Now, our great big massive one for headquarters is going to be in Delhi, and there'll be thousands there. But all the other ones, we're just anticipating an evening event, and we have the agenda. And if you think in your heart, oh my gosh, I would love to put on a summit with my church group, with my service organization, with my book club, with my, whoever you, then we'd love to have you contact us. Just use that same email, paula@prosperityandpeaceinitiative.org, and say, I'd love to be involved with the summit. And then you can help us with these summits. So we're putting on in all 196 nations, and that is something we will do in 196 nations. And what's so exciting is that we have dear friends in so many service organizations like Rotary and Seroptimus and Kiwanis who are already out in these nations and with whom we will collaborate. So that's very exciting. And we'll be doing that all over the world. And so that's the second thing. And then the third thing is we have these programs that I told you, one in every 7 areas of your life. Then that's all under the umbrella of total life excellence. So as we strengthen people mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, spiritually, financially, and in all their relationships, those programs are called Total Life Excellence. And those who are affiliated with us, we send you these things, and we just send it out free. And we give you pieces of these wonderful principles and share with you the principles that are so life-changing and that really make such a massive difference in your life. And I have pages and pages and pages of testimonials of people whose lives were changed because of the principles they learned in these programs, these 7 different programs. So we have them there for you. And then in phase 2, we actually are going to be taking our Total Life Excellence programs out to corporations to have that be their CSR solution. And you may have heard that as the corporate social responsibility, but we're calling it the conscious social responsibility. It's still a C, and that's actually a book that I'm writing with 2 other ladies really quickly right now, because we are seeing that in order to have businesses and corporations kind of shift their paradigm and say, wow, this is a better way, rather than, I don't know, writing a check to save the whale, which there's nothing against saving the whale. I'm just saying so many people have projects that aren't as meaningful as perhaps improving the lives of every employee in their entire business, and then improving the bottom line. And then the idea is that the employees, after they learn Total Life Excellence, they'll go out and teach parts of it. And all of this will be available on an app, a free app that's just downloadable. As you could imagine, if you're thinking about this, you're like, how in the world can you get this out to everybody? The cost of hard copy books, it would be prohibitive. But everybody has a phone nowadays. And to be able to download this Total Life Excellence fabulous information all over the world is doable. And because of the wonderful strides we've made with translation services, it's actually is something that is very possible now. And even 10 years ago, we could not have done this peace initiative the way we're doing it now. Is another reason, another thing that makes us so unique, is that it's very, very grassroots. We talk about strengthening hearts and homes, and then out to humanity. So that's what we're doing. That's what I'm working on every day.
It's so beautiful, Paula. It's so beautiful. I feel so
Thanks.
honored and grateful to be a part of this. And I know everyone who's listening, and I know Teri has been so instrumental also in really sharing this message and getting to, we all are finding that this is a time that most people are really starting to realize that we need to make some positive changes in order to have the world be the kind of world we all desire to live on. And it feels like this is a real solution. This feels like it's a real,
it's doable.
way that, it's
right.
doable, and it's a real solution. It feels like, especially there are so many in the world that have a poverty mindset, and that you are going to take that mindset and give it a prosperity mindset is so beautiful and so powerful. It's so empowering. I love that you are taking this, in this way to the places that really, really need it, and it's such a beautiful thing. You spoke about for such a time as this, and I wanted you to maybe explore that with us. That may be just still a little confused about, how can this really do anything?
Oh, bless your heart. Well, it absolutely can do a lot of things, because when there's a shift in a person's heart and in their mind, then their whole life can change. But as I mentioned, this is a perfect time in the history of the world for such an initiative to be brought forth. And so I wrote this. I'd love to share it with you, and thank you for bringing that up, Karen. It's called For Such a Time as This. People in nations worldwide are connecting and collaborating to implement a global prosperity and peace initiative whose mission is to increase the level of love, prosperity, and peace on earth. We believe that this is the best time in history to implement this global initiative. We believe that people in every nation yearn for peace. The technical advances have made it possible for nearly everyone to easily access information. We believe that there is a rising consciousness worldwide and a growing belief in the hearts of humanity that increased love, prosperity, and peace is possible. We believe that people are inherently good, and they naturally want to be more loving and peaceful. We believe that when enough people in 196 nations learn, apply, and share the initiative's lessons and principles, the love, prosperity, and peace in the world will rise. We believe that a massive mission requires systems and processes that we have in place. We believe that success depends on a master action plan, and our master action plan, we call it our MAP, is the core of our initiative. We believe that increasing love, prosperity, and peace begins in each individual person's heart. It requires that we try to live our best lives, striving to excel in all areas of our lives. Therefore, as the foundation of our initiative, we teach total life excellence. We believe that through kind collaborations, mutual commitment to the mission, unity, perseverance, and love, our glorious global goal can be reached by 2020. Yes, this global prosperity and peace initiative is being developed at an ideal time in history when nearly all the basic components needed for the realization of this mission are in place. We are ready for such a time as this.
Wow.
So there you have it. There's never been a time in the history of the world that's better than right now. And we know this, And it's exciting to those of us who are reaching out. And sometimes you think, oh, people know this, and I'm always surprised that they often don't. Some of the most basic, like taking responsibility for your own thoughts, words, and actions, and not blaming others. The basic value of forgiveness. Just forgive easily. If you're still holding on, to something that happened to you when you were, I don't know, like a teenager or, a former spouse or, something that you just can't let go of, you're handicapping yourself on many levels, mentally, emotionally, certainly spiritually, many times financially, because you just can't move forward. You can't be as effective. You certainly can't be as fine a leader. You can't be as loving, certainly. And so just think about being unforgiving and thinking, it's not hurting that person. I'm actually giving them the power to hurt me when I will not forgive them. And so I'd love to invite anyone listening who maybe has still a niggle in their heart about someone or something that happened years ago, to just let it go. Let it go. In my world, let go and let God comes to mind. But another thing, another reason to have people join with us and participate in something like this is that when you get outside of yourself and you are in service to others, your problems become minimized. And this is the fastest way to joy, really, is being in service. So George Bernard Shaw, you've heard this before, both of you, because I've shared it with you before, but I'd love to share it with your audience. It's a quote by George Bernard Shaw, and he talks about his life, and I have so many parallels with my life, and it's an invitation for everyone to live a passionate life. So it goes like this. This is the true joy in life, being used for a purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one, being a true force of nature instead of a feverish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world would not devote itself to making you happy. He said, I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It's a sort of splendid torch, which I've got to hold up for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations, close quote. So you both know that I tell my age very easily because I have 8 children, 24 grandchildren, and when you find out that my oldest is 44, then you have to figure that so I'm 68. And what I love about being 68, and of course age is a matter of mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And if I can look back and say for decades I've learned, I've been a student in the laboratory of life. And I love that I still am, and that there are so many things I'm learning every day. And as you can imagine, as you both know, when you're out in the world, and I just recently came back from Dubai. I'll be going back to the Middle East in another 4 weeks, and I travel quite a bit. And when I am in these other countries, I learn so much. And when you are a student of life, which both Teri and Karen, you both are, and your heart is open to learning, then you pay attention when wonderful people like Mother Teresa say things like this. She said, spread love wherever you go. First of all, in your own home. Give love to your husband, your wife, your children, your next door neighbor. Now here's my favorite line and my favorite quote. Mother Teresa said, let no one ever come to you without leaving better and happier. Don't you love that?
So beautiful.
Don't you love that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then it's like, how can we leave not just the people in our circle of life, our life circle, if you will, better and happier, but as many people on the face of the planet as possible. And so when we leave this life, we will have that wonderful, he rejoiced in life for its own sake, and he passed on that torch to future generations, because it's the 20, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds that we need in this wonderful, glorious global prosperity and peace initiative. They're that will be carrying this on. And I love that. I love that we can, that more and more of our young people, and they're coming to us. I mean, they're coming down. I know these young ones. Remember, the 24 grandchildren. I've got these little ones. And they're so bright. And they're so others-centered already. And they're so open to being sensitive to the challenges of the world, because they have the Internet. And the world is small to them. So it's
more
a
socially conscious.
time.
They're more. I've noticed that they're just more socially and eco-friendly, and I just love the millennials. I'm actually working on a book right now that's all about. It's called Generation Gratitude, and it's about bridging the generations together so that we can learn from each other. Because I really have learned so much from my daughter, who is a millennial, and her generation is so inspiring, because they really are all about service. They really want to, create socially conscious businesses.
Yeah, it's true.
They get it. It's the new trend.
It is. They are much more intuitive too. They seem more sensitive to me. Right. Have you experienced that, Karen?
Oh, absolutely, and especially with the little ones that I work with. Because I teach 6 to 12-year-olds mindfulness and yoga in after-school programs, and they are the most loving and kind and supportive of each other. It's so beautiful. I watch kind of in awe, and I think, can we bottle this?
That's right. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, Teri, what are your thoughts, sweetheart?
Well, I would like for you to touch on the fact, Paula, because I get a lot of questions from people. You know that I'm working very hard and trying to find some of these peace ambassadors, and I get a lot of questions about, what all's involved and how much am I going to have to do? And a lot of people think it's like a full-time job.
Oh, no.
I would like for you to explain, that if somebody has a couple of hours, that
well, that's
makes
it. It's 2 hours a week. It's 2 hours a week is what we ask of our peace ambassadors and national peace ambassadors. 2 hours a week. And, so that's all. And if you say, gosh, I just don't have time this week, that's fine. I mean, everybody's volunteering. I'm volunteering, right? And so it's just it's just simply a matter of saying, this sings to my heart. And if you really care about these things and you want to do something, 2 hours usually isn't too much to ask. People are usually willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, considering that a lot of people spend like 6 hours at night watching TV, let's put it into perspective, give us a couple of your hours and really make a difference in the world. That's what I look at. Mm-hmm. You have an opportunity here to really make a difference and to do something that's going to help everybody in the world, not just one or two people.
Absolutely.
And as you were talking about that too, the technology is so simple now. You can just hop on you can hop on a Zoom and you can have people from all over the world collaborating and discussing and coming up with more ideas. Would love to have you talk a little bit about your executive team, Paula, because it looks like you have an incredible executive team that is working with you, and would just like to have a little more feedback on the people who are in your beautiful inner circle and that are your executive team.
Well, thank you. All right. Well, our executive team is myself and Susan Furness. Susan Furness lives in Dubai and has for 36 years, grew up in London. So just a magnificent marketer. She has had her own PR company, public relations and marketing company, for all those years, first in Bahrain for 11 years and then over in Dubai. So in that Middle Eastern area of the world, and she's very fair, very beautiful, but extremely organized, thoughtful, big-hearted, magnificent woman. And I love finding people who have that are diverse skills is what I'm trying to say. So I have my strengths and certainly many weaknesses. And some of my weaknesses are her strengths, which is wonderful. And that's actually the way you two are, because you have strengths in areas that I'm weak. So I love working with both of you. And Susan is working really closely with me. The first time I flew over there, well, it was actually the second time, but the first time I went over was not with this initiative. Then the first time I came for this initiative, we actually gathered a team of 30 women and a couple of men in there too, but 30 in a 4-day period of people who are now working with us. And she just gets things done. She's just magnificent, and love working with her. Now, Gina, India, she's in Canada. And so you see, we don't have a bricks and mortar. Everyone works from where they are. Our sweet Teri Miller, Teri, you're on our primary team and actually the executive director of our primary team, and she is all the way in Florida. I'm in Utah. So Gina is in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and she is magnificent. She's had some health problems recently, but she is she grew up in India and now a Canadian, and very, very, very connected. And so then our wonderful Chrissy Owens is on my executive team. Chrissy is, I call her my right arm. When people say, well, what's her job? I say, well, everything I don't do, she does. But no, she's the one that puts up she's online all day long, and she puts up the websites and changes, things. And we have 9 different websites. And so we have internationalwomensday.org. We have Solutions for Families. We have the Women's Information Network, of course, and she works on those, but then she also works on social media. She works on all the curriculum, making it look nice. So I write it, then she makes it look really nice, puts it into modules, that type of thing. So Chrissy Owens, and she has 3 children, and the oldest is 3. And so she works 8 hours a day from her home, and the only thing she can't do is calling, because it's usually a little noisy at her house. And so I said, you won't ever have to do any calling. So Chrissy and Paula and Gina and Susan and our Patty, Alan has been with me for quite a long time. And she just this very last Monday, she has her dream to be able to be a hypnotherapist, and I've supported her ever since she started taking these classes on hypnotherapy. She's a trained, licensed hypnotherapist, and she's starting her own practice and will be with us intermittently, but not full time moving forward. And then a primary team that's wonderful that both of you are on, but that's all the executive team right now. That's all we have.
That's beautiful. That is so inspiring, and so it's really come together. And this was just a vision for you. How it just. A year ago, you were just starting to put this together, to put together the Second World Parliament on Spirituality. So you've come so far.
That's exactly right. It really was. We started gathering our peace ambassadors and national peace ambassadors in the fall. And then we had Christmas, and then we've been doing this really in earnest since the beginning of January. So it's just January, February, and now we're halfway into March. So So, it's moving quickly
inspiring.
because, again, for such a time as this, right?
For such a time as this. Teri, do we have any callers that want to raise their hands?
Nobody with their hands raised. I think they're just intrigued by all this information.
I know. So people
either
know
intrigued or overwhelmed. I'm not sure.
Yeah, right.
Well, if you want to ask any kind of questions, or you want to just share a comment, or let Paula know how inspired you are by her and this beautiful initiative, just press the number 1 and you can join us on this beautiful call. This has been so uplifting, Paula. I can't even put into words how grateful I am to have had this time. And I know, Teri, you must feel the same way, because we really didn't hear the whole story. I didn't.
Yeah. I should probably make a video of it. I'm not. Just tell the story from the beginning and put it on the website.
Well, also,
that would
Paula,
be beautiful.
I'm going to put this on YouTube after the show finishes. I can download the audio and put it on YouTube. So we can put that link on the website if you want, so people can go in and hear the story. And hear all this wonderful information that you've shared with us. It's just amazing. I know I'm going to put it on my website, on Angelspeakers.com. I'll put the link on there. You know, every day I come on, I do Facebook Live every day at 5 o'clock. I call it happy hour because it's 5 o'clock where I am. And I talk about peace every day and share, you know, how they can get involved. And, you know, it's just something that it doesn't take much time. That's the whole thing. It doesn't take time to share with somebody, look what we're doing. You know, we have this already in motion. We have the momentum going. Come join with us. And I know there's so many people, I ask every day, do you want world peace? You know, and just start that thought process with people. Do I want world peace? And what does that look like? You know, and I ask them that question, what does it look like to you to have world peace? And I always share my vision of people getting along, people accepting each other, no matter what our differences are. You know, that is the beginning. That's where it has to start. It's inside of each of us for us to really have world peace.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely right. Starts with a heart, and then in the home with the family.
And it expands as you focus on it. It expands.
And sometimes people... Go ahead, honey.
No, I just feel that it expands as we believe that it's possible, as we start to really believe and see, you know, like I love that you have this metric, you know, that you're showing how it's actually being done. I love that because there's so many people who, you know, kind of poo-poo, oh, yeah, that's great. It'd be great if we could have world peace. But, yeah, we really can. And if enough of us
really
start...
can. And, you know, the thing is, sweetheart, we're never going to have every person in the entire world be peaceful. We're just not. We lower our expectation for that. But the mission is to increase the level of love, prosperity, and peace, the level of love. So let me tell you why we added prosperity, and that's some of my sweet friends, and many of them are in underdeveloped countries, and they said, so what are we going to do, just hold hands and sing kumbaya and talk about peace when our children are dying? You have to please help us become financially stable, and so that we can even be thinking about being peaceful. And it's true. It's a lot easier to be peaceful when you have enough food to eat, and it's more difficult when you don't. And it's just some of the basics. Yeah. So that's why we added that. And, you know, for those who think, oh, my goodness, how could you possibly, you know, how could you even know how could you measure this? How do you even know what good you're going to be doing? And I forgot to tell you about this. So one of the things, I've been married for 45 years to my sweetheart. We met when we were 12, but he is a statistician extraordinary. He's been at the university teaching statistics for 26 years, and he taught high school before that. But for these 26 years, I've watched how many different studies he's created and how wonderful it is to be able to measure things. So I thought, why not? We can measure this because now we can't really measure the love, right? But we can measure the prosperity and peace, and this is how. So because we have these programs, we have a program of how to start and grow a business. We have a program of how to be more peaceful in your home. We have lessons. We have all these tangible things, even if they're on the app. This is content. So we can ask people before, for example, a family, if they take our Solutions for Families program, which is a year-long program of every week having a lesson, then the next week is an activity, the next week is a lesson, and it's actually more than 1 year, but the first phase is 1 year. So if this family says, oh my goodness, this absolutely increased the level of love and peace in our home, then we can measure that. We can say that X number of families in X number of countries worldwide had a positive experience and increased the level of love and prosperity in their home. Love is very subjective, but if you ask a family, is there more love in this house because in this home, in this family, because you went through the Solutions for Families program, and they say yes, then multiply that times the hundreds, then the thousands, and then hopefully the millions who over the length of years will be taking these programs, will be reading these lessons and sharing these life-changing principles. And then we can show, yes, in this country, these businesses said there's more cooperation, more respect, more obedience, whatever the measurement is, because we went through these programs, and they're measurable. And that's very exciting to me, because then, based on those measurements, then it's much easier to convince people, especially the academics of the world, that this is a viable initiative. And certainly the United Nations requires, any international body requires that you prove, that you show, you demonstrate through measurements that there has been improvement and that there's success with your initiative. And so I'm very excited about that part, that we actually can measure so much of our program. Yep.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you touched on that, Paula. When I first got involved and I was doing the questions, do you want world peace? How does it look like to you? I really did receive a lot of the skeptics that were saying, yeah, but it's never going to happen. It's not possible.
Yeah.
And they think nothing's ever going to change. So I'm really happy to hear that is in place and that we are actually able to show people, look, we can make a difference. One person can make a difference, because everybody's saying, I'm just one person, what can I do? You can spend 2 hours a week reaching out to others and sharing what the initiative is all about. Even if you get on social media and share it out with your friends, let others know that this is something that is making a difference in the world. Yep. I love it.
Right.
I love it, and I thank you so much.
If people are hearing this broadcast, they can share the replay, and maybe they might just be the one who finds the peace ambassador. That's what it's
for their
so
nation.
Beautiful.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's what's so beautiful. I would love for you to talk a little bit about the Second World Parliament on Spirituality, because that was like a miracle, and it felt like heaven on earth for me when I was there. And I really would love to just kind of explore, how did that come about? I know that you were asked to, but you pulled that together in such a beautiful way and brought all these peace ambassadors together, and just such an amazing experience for everyone who was able to be there. Maybe could you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, well, I'd love to. Yes, it was a magnificent event. It was last November 17, 18, 19, 20, and it was about 6 months of 12-hour days. Anybody who puts on something like that, it just takes a lot of time and effort, but the reward was immeasurable, just priceless, because on many levels. So the peace ambassadors who are now fully committed really caught the vision of what this could be. There's one level. Another level is they learned a lot from each other and the wonderful presenters. And we had performers and presenters and peace ambassadors who represented 72 different nations at that event. And so, and it was a beginning. And a third level, they got to really feel like they were initiating something, that they were at the very beginning, and that's exciting. A fourth level is that they connected with each other in powerful ways, and many are very, very close friends now because they met each other at that event, and they connected heart to heart. A fifth level is that we were able to really teach everyone there about the initiative enough that they gained a commitment then that has carried them through these months of us laying the foundation. Because the ones who didn't experience that, they hear about it now, but it added to the measure of commitment and excitement, I think, because they were there at the beginning and they felt the power of what this can be for years and years to come. And then another level, it was just so entertaining because Sean Perry, who was our artistic director, brought together some of the most amazing groups who represented different nations. We had Kenyan drummers, we had African, I just can't even start because there were so many, but really performers from many different nations. And the event culminated really with a Saturday night 90-minute concert with just performance after performance. And these are big groups. We had the children's choir, and we had, it just so many. Karen, you could help me out here, but remember we had so many different groups of dancers and like the Samoan dancers and the Tahitian, the wonderful, beautiful girls, and just so many. And Karen, I want to thank you again and give you kudos. She was backstage with me just working away. I realized I needed her so badly, and she popped in and just ran the show literally. She was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So, thank you. Thank you, because I didn't know what I was doing, and on that first day I was like, okay, it's funny how I believe God always puts us where we need to be, and I trust that. And when I feel like I can be of service, I just take a deep breath and I say a prayer. If I can be of service, then the things just seem to fall into place, and that's just I really believe that.
It's true. She ran the computer and everybody's PowerPoint. Everybody, put back up the great big logo, and here's another PowerPoint. Here she is back there and nobody would have known you weren't at all nervous because you just did it beautifully, Karen. So I love you forever for that.
I'll
love you forever anyway.
I love you too, and I love you, Teri, and I'm so excited, the three of us. We are such three powerhouses of peace and prosperity and love. And I know that this beautiful broadcast I'm going to share with all of my community and this beautiful replay. And we're going to get this, and we're going to hopefully get some wonderful new peace ambassadors nationally. And, also, you're looking for people like what Teri's doing. Teri is a peace ambassador for Florida, right? So you're looking for
for
people
for state peace ambassadors. Absolutely, absolutely, all 50 states.
So we need that.
If we're wrapping up, I'd love to leave with one final quote. I love these quotes. Well, this is by Eleanor Roosevelt, and this quote is an invitation to everyone who's listening, everyone who has even a little inkling in their heart that they might want to either participate with us or with another beautiful initiative, people who are doing things that are making a difference in the world, because your heart is yearning to serve your brothers and sisters and help them for such a time as this. So here's the quote. It's by Eleanor Roosevelt, and she said, "The purpose of life, after all, is to live it, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experiences." Close quote. So come join us. This is a magnificent opportunity.
Absolutely.
For such a time as this.
Yes, please reach out, and if you know of anyone you think would like to get involved, share this with them. Share this broadcast. Share the website or the information on how to reach Paula. Thank you all for being here, all of you that are listening, all of you that will listen to the replay, and those in the chat room. Thank you all for being here tonight. I love all of you so very much. I'm so glad to be back on the air, and I will be posting the schedule of the upcoming broadcast. Karen and Paula, I want to thank both of you so much from the bottom of my heart for all that you shared tonight and for all of your love. I love you too very dearly. You are so precious to me. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing. And I will be talking to both of you very soon.
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
I love you both, and I send my love to all of your beautiful listeners. And Karen, thank you. Love you. Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Love you. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful day. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye now.